morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Super Live broadcast of the KALAS Cup round number one. We are out on the Innsbruck ring for 5 laps. Going to be hitting the leg snapper 5 times. We're going to be covering the A race for the men's side of things as well as the race for the women's side of the things for the categories. We are live on Facebook, Twitch, Mixer, as well as YouTube. If you want to come back and watch the replay, you can find them on all those platforms as well. As well as you can always check us out on ZwiftCommunityLive.com. If you did not know, we do have a website as well. We got alongside me as usual, Mr. Alex Rasmussen. Alex, gonna be a very highly contested. I saw 524 riders signed up for the race out here today. 16 seconds to go to the start of the men's A race, and I think a lot of the top esports teams, as far as community racing, are going to be focusing in on this cup.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm very impressed about the number of participants, even in the A category. I talked to several guys from Team DBR and Team Fusion that are saving their legs for tomorrow, even though they really want to participate in this cup. But a lot of guys have focused on tomorrow. So pretty impressive that the amount of top guys that are in the peloton today.
Yeah, and they're already jumping out on course here. Usual fast start that we do see. I am seeing, you did say some riders are going to be saving their legs. I am seeing the Vikings out here, though. Team Poland, KALAS obviously out here as well. I did get a couple messages that maybe a few of the favorites or the contenders that perhaps KALAS and some of the other teams, they're going to hold back. And then maybe some more of the domestics or those who are not maybe in it for more as a support role might be jumping into the race here today. We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. But it's going to be all about the leg snapper, I think, each lap. But there's the reality, though. We say that a lot of times on this course, but I think there is also a reality that on this course with the longer, we're looking at 45K, going to be a little longer race than usual. There may be a lot more opportunities than just the leg snapper as people get tired later on.
This is definitely one of the longer races. Normally we see 2 or 3 laps on the leg snapper. So 5 laps is going to be really, really long. And I think, like we see a lot of races, it's going to be really elimination race when they push it. They're going to push it each time over the leg snapper, and you're just going to see 10, 20 guys fall off the back. And at one point, there might be an opportunity, especially if you look at the Vikings that are coming with a lot of guys on the start field today, if they could do something like attack as a team, instead of just waiting for the sprint. So let's hope to see some action after lap 3 or so.
Yeah, the Vikings showing up today. I think they've been looking for a result for a little while. They are doing really well as far as some of the top spots, being on the podium, being in those, being higher up in the series. But I think there's a reality that they just haven't been able to maybe grab any W's, no wins lately for the Vikings here. So maybe stacking the field up a little bit here to try and look for a win, at least in the higher tier esports. I have broadcast, but we've obviously have seen them at the front end in some of the other community races out there. But in specifically these races that we've been covering, I think they've struggled to try and get any kind of wins. They have been on the podium, but definitely going to see if they can grab some results here, and I think that's why they're stacking the field up. MC and Sandvik now from the Vikings. This is that new kit we've been talking about for them in game right here, as you can see.
I love that kit. Beautiful kit.
Simplicity sometimes is where it's at.
Exactly, especially here in esports when it's so hard to see because we normally have that above view. It's really hard to distinguish the jerseys, but theirs is that's a simple design, easy to recognize. Also, if you're working as a team, it's really nice that you recognize your teammates when they go off the front.
And we are seeing one of the Zwift Poland riders here actually taking the left-hand side of the road there for a moment. Interesting to see. Looking for a wheel, perhaps, is what was going on there. Look at how many. You were saying, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 riders from the Vikings team, all toward the front end of the race here. So now you only see the I believe is the nearest 50 or 100 riders actually every time, with so many riders in this group. 167 riders have signed up in the A category. So that's why you are seeing a few of the riders here disappear on and off because we can only pick up so many at a time. Now, a little bit of an attack here off the front. Interesting to see. This is a very early attack, but it is an uphill grind on this section here. It is going to be DePaul here from the BZR team, followed up by Golev, covering that very quickly from the Vikings team. Golev being obviously one of the strongest riders from the Vikings. We'll see if he can hold on to this with the paw, and the BZR giving a little bit of a dig at the front here.
this could be an underestimated part of the Innsbruck ring where people don't really expect an attack, but it's a slight uphill 2 to 3% over the bridge here, and a lot of people are just waiting for the leg snapper. So sometimes this could be a good opportunity to attack, especially later stages in the race.
I'm looking through here, and Darren Holmes with a great little. And if they were invisibility power, that might have actually been what was going on there, and we didn't realize it. We do not have the same. That is actually a really good point, Darren Holmes, coming through with the little bit of chatter there about maybe an invisibility power up being used there momentarily by some of the riders, because we do not have the same tools as some of the. Now there are no power ups in this race though, so no, there are no power ups, so there would not be any visibility power ups. So you were right; it was correct to make it a joke rather than being serious there. But Danielson here off the front here, along with Tangen, it looks like a little bit of digs. Going to be difficult to get away from 167 riders out here today.
This peloton just looks impressive. I love seeing the big groups. It almost looks like one of the Tour de Swift group rides with that many riders in one bunch. So, but it's gonna thin out pretty quickly. I think 1 or 2 laps over the leg snapper, we're gonna see a peloton around maybe 60 to 70 at that point.
Yeah, and we are seeing a little bit of chatter here actually coming from our mail. I got some information prior to the broadcast out here today that Vidar was not going to be showing up. Is he's saying first MTB race of 2020 today, 3 more race days coming up down here in Spain. So it sounds like he's taking plane across countries in order to get some in real life racing. So no Vidar mail out there today getting some in real life racing, but good to see Vidar in the chat, hanging out and cheering on his teammates from KALAS out here today. But taking over to the front, it's going to be the Vikings kicking off again, it looks like, actually. They're definitely very active at the front end of the pack here so far. Perhaps with so many riders in the pack, they could be looking to try and loosen up the legs. You know, with that many, people in here, making people chase things down, or perhaps looking to just fade climb because this climb is coming up pretty quickly here. Not sure it's going to work out too well for Stanglin as he works backwards to 31st place. Now we're heading first time over the top of the leg snapper. We'll jump into the women's race in just a moment. They are heading through some of the flatter sections of the course, and as soon as these boys are done climbing and going through some of the sprint sections for the points, we're going to give you a little bit more information in a moment here about those sections as well and how the points are going to be divvied up. But it's going to be Mustard here, Cryogen on the front, Vang trying to follow it up, 10 watts per kilogram though coming from this rider here with 185 beats per minute in the game here right now with that Cryogen kit on. Vang trying to follow things up, 8.2. Richardson going with it as well. And then it does look like it will be Lindeland there from Holland SK, and then it's going to be the Vikings there right behind. Very strung out here though. I think this is going to be the first break for sure with so many riders here strung out behind here. I have a feeling that we may see a pack of about 50 get away. Maybe a little bit more than that, but I think this is definitely going to be the first split.
Definitely, it's going to split each time up there, and it's just about how deep do you want to go, because maybe a lot of riders are used to like 2 or 3 times over the leg snapper, so you actually have to be a little more conservative with your energy than you normally would. So I wouldn't go too deep the first couple of times, because you can always find a pack and a wheel to sit on, and it's going to come back a lot, especially in the early stages of the race.
Now, a little bit of information as well, and Vidar is helping us out actually in chat with this. And you can go ahead and throw your chat down in YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, or Facebook. You'll be able to see where the chat's coming through there in the lower left-hand corner. But Vidar is saying, cool to see so many Norwegians at the start line today, and that would be because there are going to be 2 separate results, and this is a very Norwegian-focused cup, actually, series of races. They're going to be in international standings as well as Norwegian standings as well. So if you go ahead over to zippower.com or take a look at the event, international results will be presented on Facebook after each race, and Norwegian results will be presented on landave.no after each race. We're also embedded over there, and you can watch over on that magazine's website as well in the live embed. So pretty cool to be partnering up with that magazine, and cool to see how KALAS has come together to organize all of this. A little bit more information though, as you see why they're going so hard after each one of these sections of the course. We do see it looks like Vang here trying to take down the sprint section, but it's going to be over the top. I believe it's going to be the rider here coming from La Bamba SC going over the top of it. I believe, is it the Swedish rider that was able to take that down at the front there? And believe that was Olsen. Yes, M. Olsen taking that sprint. And there are points available through each one of the sprint sections, actually. Sadar from the KRT team coming out of Sylvania now was somewhere there within the top 10. I'll have to take a look as Whip Power is able to track the point situation. As the race does go on, I'll be looking for updates about that as I am seeing sprints and KOMs here, and nothing available yet for the live results for that. We'll have to wait a couple of moments to see if they do update. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do just that. But it's a 10 race league. Your best 7 do count. There is going to be points awarded throughout the entirety of the league. We'll get more information on that in just a moment. We are seeing James Phillips jumping in here. Canyon ZCC with a little bit of focus out here today. Good to see Phillips, UK reigning national champion right now, 3.8. He's made the late group, it looks like. Moving backwards, it does look like this is a very heavily split up group, actually. 16 seconds back already. Look at this. Now the rider coming out of Japan, TMGW here, taking the caboose, but it looks like VH from 3R already here. Whitley from the BRT team, Sorensen, kind of Norway. There's like 3 packs out here today, and because of that sprint section, things have completely blown up out on course.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's going to change the entire dynamics of the race because you have that sprint section coming straight after the climb. So normally you get back there and people are sitting up, but then you have the sprint, so you just keep going. So it's going to make it a lot more interesting. It's probably going to split up the peloton a lot more than we thought it was going to be. And I just want to mention also, it's really, really cool just to see a Norwegian league amidst the international league. I think that's a cool idea. I just wish that they added Sweden and Denmark as well, so we could have a little Viking battle and have a little Scandinavian league. So that would be a good idea for a next league coming up.
100%, and we'll see how all that ends up playing out. I mean, obviously, each year we do have national championships as well out on Zwift, so perhaps we'll have a little bit more, representation specifically around each one of the national flags we are seeing out there. Now, the women are about to hit the climb, so we're going to head on over to their live feed, and it does look like we've got 32 women jumping into this race out here today. It does look like it's going to be let out currently. I did see a couple of Canyon ZCC riders. Kristen Falk here from Canyon ZCC. We did see a little feature from her actually over on the website for this KALAS Cup here, and it is going to be Falk here trying to lead things out. 7 watts per kilogram representing for Norway, and 174 beats per minute currently coming from her. Verzan trying to follow it up from Cryogen, it looks like here. Brewer right behind from Team Fearless. Mason is there as well from Team Fearless. Vicky Whitelaw. Whoo, we've got some heavy hitters. Didn't realize Vicky was in here today. 8.5 watts per kilogram currently coming from Whitelaw. As you can see, 7.2. That is going to be the Australian national champion showing up here today. She's on that S-Works, it looks like. And Canyon ZCC still leading things out. Fearless trying to follow it up, it looks like. Hajan's there as well. K-Pole there from the KRT team. Slaven Berry there following it up there. The teammate of Falk is sitting, it looks like 9th wheel at this point, up and out of the saddle, coming over the top here, and the KRT rider, their pole going backwards. I think we're going to have a break in this women's race here as Fearsdown from Cryogen is smashing it over the top here.
And one thing we're not going to see today is we're not going to see 3 girls from DBR go away because Whitelaw is alone. She doesn't have Cecilia Hansen or Lisa Haubach with her today, so she's going to be riding alone and going for the win solo today.
And we do see that. Will this be a situation where Whitelaw can just take over? As you know, we have seen the domination of that team, but it looks like and Whitelaw here, interesting to see with Heino in the name. So I think that was a visitation to DBR. A visiting rider perhaps, and riding for Heino here in the race today. We'll see. Maybe we can get some background information on that. But Barry now coming over the top here. It's going to be all about the sprint section as there are points up for grabs. We'll see who's able to take them down in just a moment. But Barry now coming over the top, 2.8 watts per kilogram, resting up. 2 seconds back, 1 second back. Kajan here trying to get back on terms out of Finland, but it's going to be Pole 10 seconds back with Slaven for Team Fearless, as well as a couple of riders here run riding for Trek, it looks like. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually get the watching in game currently, as it'll help us out know what the names are. Holmson for Trek, Aaron's SK, 8 seconds back here. But now the open up for the sprint situation. Kajan now to the front there, 178 beats per minute coming from this rider. And it looks like it's going to be Whitelaw setting up for the attack here in just a moment. And Falk now leading things out, 2.1 watts per kilogram here currently coming from Falk. Fearless now with Mason toward the front. Mason 3.2. Who's going to go first? They've already hit the sprint section. Nobody's going, actually, it looks like. Maybe no interest in the points that come through here. It's only 3, 2, 1, I believe, through these sections. But no, Falk opens up here. 8 watts per kilogram here coming from Falk. She is very interested, it looks like, to take these down. Bearing from Canyon ZCC following it up. It may be a 1-2 for the points for this section of the course. It looks like that's what it's going to be. I'm not sure the rest of the riders even knew how to respond to that as Falk comes on through. I think they're all looking to recover. And this might be a team time trial off the front now. They've set up well. Fearson's going to the front trying to shut it down, but Baron and Falk might start to walk away for Canyon ZCC.
Yeah, I think they're going to get shut down. But just coming back to the reason with the DBR and Heino, I do believe that they didn't get an invitation as Team Heino, so they had to be guest riders for DBR. So that's the reason that the 3 girls are actually riding for DBR, but they do have Heino in their name because that's the team they will normally ride for.
Yeah, so DBR with that invitation, and it definitely, as it should be. Some of the the strongest riders in the world of Zwift should be in that pro-am, and I'm glad that they were able to get that invitation. So as a guest rider for DBR out there, but they do ride for Heino in the in the community racing teams. So we're gonna jump back in with the men's racing here as they are heading back on over to the Lake Snapper for the second time. They're out on their second lap. The situation is currently that they have been caught by the second pack, I believe, as it was a solid gap, but they have brought this back together. So we are looking at a much larger group. There are about 30-some riders off the front, and now it's only 8 seconds back to P. Sorensen. Well, this is really an interesting race. You don't usually see these kind of breaks like this brought back, but with such a large group on the chase, they've got the firepower, and Sorensen's bringing this back here out of Norway.
Yeah, I see Sorensen. I also see my former teammate, actually, Christian Moberg from Team Fusion is in there as well. So I see a lot of strong riders in the second group. And I think the race is so long that nobody's really going to push on in the front. But the problem for these guys is they're going to hit the back of the peloton coming into the leg snapper. And then they're pretty much going to get dropped straight away unless they have really extra firepower. So we're going to see them merging together, and we're going to see a split up straight away.
It's a very good point, actually, as it does come together. But there are plenty of riders, I think, that are sitting in, getting the benefit of the speed that's being produced at the front here. We'll see if the work put in is going to benefit any of the riders. We got Carlson, Day, it looks like, Eng in there from Team MVE. Plenty of Norwegian flags, as you did say. I think there was a ton of promotion, actually, around this specific race for the Norwegian-specific results and competition. So very cool to see. Fitzpatrick, now we are seeing making his way to the front. This is the lead group. David from PLCC. Now a little bit of kick from the innovation rider, moving up the right-hand side that we did see there. Schult here coming out of Germany, backing off just a little bit, but innovation now on the front. Berg here, KALAS now. And it's going to be Cartledge. That was the one that was making the way in front. But Skretterberg. Good to see Skretterberg out there. This is a rider that I've been riding with out on Zwift for quite a long time. One of the beta users, actually, he was a junior who had won quite a few races, actually, in real life, and is now racing first-year senior. Had a big result recently. I'll be watching out for this young man as he has got a crazy FTP, but he's got to try and get away, though, to try and use that. 5.8 watts per kilogram, very light rider, and we'll see if he can hang on over the top here as 6.4 watts per kilogram, but it's going to be Whitley here from the BRT team now starting to kick, but leading things out, Morten Vang, followed up by Morse there from Velasio NE here out of the US of A. Doving here, Team Experimental now leading things out with the chase. Crouching again with Mustard, 180 beats per minute, 732 watts. But Vang here, 9.4, trying to follow it up. Dovey, David, Morse, Skretterberg, and then Lindelin there from Holland SK. Holt there as well, and then it will be bought there from the Vikings team. The Vikings not really toward the front, though, at all. Maybe biding their time, knowing that this is a very long race. Again, Mustard here. How many times can he push this kind of a pace over the top? That's the way I like to climb it, though, because you're secure coming over the top if you come through in first.
Yeah, exactly. I pretty much, whenever I do the leg snap, I just close my eyes and wait until the resistance stop in the trainer, and then you're over the top, and then you just hope there's a good group you can tuck in, like they do here. You just tuck in, and then you have the little extra kicker. But the issue for these guys is they are all preparing for the sprint. So that's another good reason that the speed is gonna be kept pretty high until they reach the sprint again.
Looking through here, we are seeing the SK Rye. Ozurk says here now, trying to follow it up, but the rider in the SK Rye kit, I'm going to see if I can find him at the front end here, is on a little bit of attack. Interesting to see. Didn't end up going much of anywhere with it. That's going to be Holt. Berg there from KALAS following it up. Plenty of riders have made this lead group. It looks like they were a little bit more attentive this time, and I think we've got a lot more than 30. Vikings now starting to set up. Kirsten's in there, got into the 0 watts per kilogram, into the super tuck momentarily now. And this is the rider Tobel, Fusion here. He's got a good kick. Skretterberg now making his way to the front. 3.7. Nobody going just yet. We're waiting for the open up of the sprint. It's going to be Paulini here coming out of France. 2RR. Vikings now with Hedelin making his way to the front. Is it going to be an open up from the UK national champion? I'm seeing Phillips here. Canyon ZCC. Nobody going just yet. This is a very late go. 300 meters to go. It looks like Swart here from the dropouts with the 10 watts per kilogram, but it's going to be 15 watts per kilogram here coming from Olsen. Olsen again looking to try and take this out for Labamba here now. It looks like Setter there from the KRT team trying to make this happen, but Herman now out of Germany with 13 watts per kilogram. Will KRT come over the top though? Right at the line, it looked like Setter held on, followed up by Herman in the TFC kick. Swart with the early kick, but only takes down fourth. It looks like they've got a gap. Will they be able to hold? No continues. Looks like they were just in it for the points.
Yeah, it's very similar to what we see the points, the sprints in the tour for the green jersey. You see like 4 or 5 guys going for the sprint, and the rest of the peloton just sit up. I think a lot of guys are just biding their time, just trying to basically just survive until the final lap. And then there's a couple of guys that are actually going for the sprint, but it's gonna take a lot out of your legs if you go for the sprint each time, and you have to do the leg snapper, and you have to do the final sprint. So you have to be careful with how you utilize your power today.
So I am looking through the race rules, and it's very interesting the way that they're setting this up. Essentially, if you want to grab a few extra points for the points overall, you can grab them during the sprints. I kind of like that. So for the sprints and the KOMs, you can grab extra points. So
That's
the
a great
reality
idea.
is, I really love that. So there's this opportunity where it's not just about the finish line. Now, at the finish line, though, there's a huge amount of points available as well. Looking through here, 35 points to first, second place gets 30, third place gets 38th, and then fourth place is 30 through 30th, distributes from 27 all the way down to 2 points. In different, it's like 27, 26, 24, 23, all the way down to 10, and then 9, 8, 7, and all the way down to 2. So pretty cool to see how they've done the point system here. From first place all the way through 30th. But then there's also the ability to grab extra points through the sprint banner on the London 8 race. They're going to put 642 over the KOM. I mean, this is a really well thought out series here, so that it isn't just about the scratch race. It's not just about the first person to cross the line. You can start divvying things up and figure out, well, if I grab these 3 at this point and then save something up, or grab this 6 points at this point and then save something up for the finish line, you can actually start grabbing extra points throughout your series. And it isn't just that wait till the finish line, and it actually causes things to be tactical because people have to use different energies at different times. If that gets
Exactly.
used, it changes the tactics up completely. I absolutely love what they've done here.
It totally changes dynamics, and it also means a rider like let's say me, for example, like a sprinter would be able to get some early points and maybe not go for the finish. Maybe I won't last until the final of the 5 laps over the next leg snapper, so I'll probably go for some of the earlier points. Like the race tomorrow into the Swift, there's a sprint, it's a completely flat sprint after 4.5 on the Richmond circuit. And I know a lot of the Danish guys are going for that because they know they can't survive Libby Hill and 23rd Street. So we're going to see like an insane scratch race until the first sprint, because a lot of guys know they're going to get dropped going over the especially Libby Hill and 23rd Street.
I am looking through here, and we're getting a little chatter actually coming from one of the racers here. And it is going to be DePaul. Coming in to the YouTube channel saying, do not attack in the first 5K of a race like this. And I think that's because DePaul has found himself off the back end of the race at this point. DePaul, good go, though. We definitely enjoyed seeing the attacks and made things interesting at the front end of the race. But if you do want to bring in any more of your comments as well, if you did not know, first time tuning in, you can go ahead and make a comment over on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. We'll go ahead, if it is in relation, we'll do our best to bring bring those comments in and have a little bit of fun with them. Back in with the ladies' race, they're about to head on over to their next time over the top, and this is the current situation in the race. Claudia Baring is in here for Canyon ZCC. Currently, is put out about 3.5 watts per kilogram on average for the duration of the race. Emily Slavin there for Team Fearless. We're also seeing Vicky Whitelaw for Team Heino, and then Polly Mason is in there, has made this front group for Team Fearless as well. We're seeing, it looks like Celia Helmsen for Trek Aaron SK is in here. So some heavy hitters, actually. Kirsten Pohl, Kirsten Falk, Louis Fierzan for Team Crowdgen, Luis Brewer. So Fearless with 3 riders in this lead group, actually. They've got some firepower they can maybe send off the front here and there.
Yeah, and there's a group with the 3 of the Viking girls coming up from behind, but they're going to run into the same problem. They're going to hit the leg snapper just about in 200 meters, so they're not going to be able to close it. So there's 3 girls here from Vikings, and they're going to have to push on after the leg snapper in pursuit of the front ladies.
This is actually an interesting situation, having these chase groups bring things back. You usually don't see this, and this is the numbers. I think this just comes down to the reality of there's such high caliber of riders mixed with the reality of how many riders are in here. Now they are coming over the top of the leg snapper here in just a moment. They've started their climb, looking to close things down. It is going to be Walton here toward the front coming out of Canada. Holmeston at the back here, 6.2 watts per kilogram, just looking to hang on. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening though, but it looks like Polly Mason now 7.5, just hanging on the back wheel there of Kirsten Falk. Leading things out, it's going to be Kajan, Whitelaw, as well as Fierzan. Baring here, the former U.S. national champion, looking to shut that gap down. I'm not sure she's going to be able to do it. Brewer's falling off now. Baring now going at 8 watts per kilogram though. Coming up to the top. I know she's been putting in big base miles recently. I did see her post on social. She got into the Dirty Kanza, one of the biggest gravel races in the world, actually. We'll see if
she's
any of that base work is going to make this fitness come around. It looks like it's happening, but she's been putting huge miles in, so I'm surprised what kind of an effort she can throw down here. It just goes to show how important those big miles matter for these huge efforts and to recover from them.
That was really impressive, bridging the gap there and the leg snapper. I was thinking either you have to wait for some of your teammates and some of the other girls, so you actually have somebody to ride with coming over the top. Like if she was 10 seconds behind this group, it would be really difficult alone, but she was able to bridge the gap on the leg snapper, and now she's in the front group, and she didn't bring any of the Viking girls along with her.
Yeah, amazing coming over the top here and actually taking over the lead. I think she's got to back off. That might have just been the speed that she was carrying, actually, through there that brought her to the front. Now to the back here, looking for some recovery still, 182 beats per minute. Super impressive ride here from the Canyon ZCC, but they know they've got Vicky Whitelaw on here. She's going to be the one that they're going to be watching out for. Polly Mason now, Team Fearless, the only Fearless rider that was able to make this. It's 17 seconds back to her teammate Brewer. I don't think that's coming back. She'll be riding with the chase group at this point. I think this is the heavy hitters that have made this front group 2 laps in at this point, and I think we're not going to be seeing anybody chasing these girls down.
No, it's going to be really, really difficult each time they go over the leg snapper, and especially because we have that sprint again after each time after the leg snapper, they're just going to keep the momentum going. And also the group behind is really spread out, so they need to get organized and then start chasing it down.
Here we go. Now we are seeing Kajan now backing off, going to the front though, looking to try and set up, it looks like, for the sprint. There it is, the sprint section here, 300 meters to go to the line for it. Kajan not opening up, 4.0. We saw Canyon ZCC very interested in the points. Canyon ZCC sitting back now. Maybe nobody really going to go. Baring there, looking for the points. And there it is, Claudia looking to grab as much as she can. And I think this is a very smart move from Claudia Baring. And Kirsten Falk also going from Canyon ZCC, opening things up. And it's going to be, again, 1, 2, 3, 2, and then a 1, it looks like, for Vicky Whitelaw. I think Whitelaw going to be looking to try and depend on the finish line for 35 points. Baring now continuing away, though. Whitelaw maybe trying to shut that down. No, not interested. Whitelaw backing off. Now 3.8 on the front, 42 kilometers per hour. Baring's got a little bit of a gap. She's going to continue on 3.5. Not sure that that's the best move to make, but it's a brave one, that's for sure. And if she can hold this off, we may see a breakaway situation, but there's a lot of landscape yet to work with for that pack.
Yeah, but the group is so small, it is actually possible, and she is putting the pressure on some of the other girls to work to catch her back up. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to close the gap, but because it's already broken up in pieces, it's gonna be possible actually to go solo even from here. But I think the best strategy is just to sit up now, wait for the leg snapper the next time, and just mix up the cards again, and then see if she can go solo.
It is the two riders from Canyon ZCC. You know that they're communicating right now in their team car, their Discord channel, and now they do have the opportunity here to perhaps break Vicky Whitelaw and the rest of this group. I would also be watching out for Fearsam from Cryogen. She seems to be very strong amongst this group here, and this could be a little bit of games here from Canyon ZCC. They're very experienced. They definitely have the know-how out on Zwift, as well as the team tactics, to try and make something happen. They've got some extra firepower here. They're obviously going for those sprints. They're putting the pressure on the rest of this pack here. We could see the tactics from Canyon ZCC to get a breakaway situation. They're going to have to continue to do it, though, to break the rest of this pack. It's only 22 seconds back, though, as well, to the chase group that is going to be containing Brewer as well as Pohl and then Holmson. 7 seconds back then from this group to the group that's containing plenty of ladies, actually. It looks like at least 10. So this may come back still. It is a 30-second gap, but they're really looking at each other, and nobody's on the attack just as of yet. We've already gone over the top for the men's race. Sorry about missing that third leg snapper for the men's race. Here we are in with them as they come over the top of the other side of that climb. And looking toward the front of it, they are going to open up in just a moment for the sprint. Does look like it's going to be E. Grand here. Bergen, actually, though, with a little bit of kick. Sorley there as well. It looks like 331. This is interesting, too, what we're seeing here. I think there's going to be some riders that are riding unattached, maybe not well known amongst a lot of the teams here, that may show up on the day here and give a little bit of an upset to some of the other esports teams because of the popularity of this race. I think there may be some that are signing up to say, all right, I'll give a shot at this, especially coming out of Norway here. We'll be watching out for those flags for some of the dark horses, I would think here, Alex.
Yeah, I think every single day there's new people getting onto Swift, and there's always some talent hidden out there. So you never know when you're gonna see some new guys. And we still have not seen a lot of the continental riders and some of the semi-pro riders get onto Swift for real. So it's gonna be interesting when we see a lot of these community guys mixing it up with some of the more pro guys to see if they can actually do it on Swift.
Now looking through Skretterberg, this is one of them, I would say, that hasn't been really focused on any of the esports, but Cedar here now opening things up. Skretterberg goes at 12 watts per kilogram, 11 watts per kilogram, though. Bodden trying to follow it up here now. Bodden from the Vikings team coming over the top there, but it's going to be Jeldins now, actually, from the Vikings here at 15 watts per kilogram. Wow. Takes it down. It looks like TFC second and then Bodden in third for the points. What a sprint there coming from Jeldins. The Vikings, 184 beats per minute, and they have shown to race. I think the Vikings are focusing in on this KALAS Cup. Where is Team KALAS? Have they all been dropped is the question here. It's their cup, but Vang, it looks like, is still in there, and Gulav is there as well. Dubbing there from Team Experimental. Things are really spread out. We're 2.5 laps in at this point, and I think everybody's kind of going, what is happening? This has been bonkers as far as the pressure been on. Everybody's up in the 175s, 165 we're seeing here, 163. Heart rate's coming down a little bit, but most of them up in their FTP threshold still, and very difficult race so far.
Yeah, this is maybe the normal distance we used to three laps around the leg snappers, and it almost looks like it's the full final they're going into with the racing they're doing. I see they're pushing in the front again, so it's really impressive that they can keep doing that. But they just got to remember there's another 2 laps remaining, so maybe save your legs just a little bit. And I think that's what Morten Mang is doing from Team KALAS, just sitting in a little bit because it's gonna get pretty hectic if you go for all the sprints and you have to push over the leg snapper in the front each and every time.
Attack, Alex, an attack already though. Like you were saying, they're under some pressure. As you said, this is kind of like all in at this point. HCK 186 beats per minute. Fitzpatrick is gone, and this is that little over halfway point. I think knowing that the leg snappers really put some pressure on some of these riders, some of the riders here maybe over effort, and with them dropping like flies a little bit here, there's gonna be some opportunities to break away. Vang though from KALAS shutting this down. The Vikings are there as well. 6.7 watts per kilogram. It looks like he's trying to just drag the pack up. Well, he's got a gap though. And he looks like he's going to try and go across. 6.2 watts per kilogram. 1 second. Herman now to the front. Interesting to see. It would be really cool if we saw some of these riders try and get away.
Yeah, he's probably going to close the gap now, and I think the rest of the bunch is going to follow along. But I think because they're used to 3 laps, a lot of the riders in here, I think we're going to be able to see a group go away going into the fourth and the fifth laps. And he's letting up now, Morten. So he's actually letting them go. So he was not interested in closing it completely. So he's just going to go back in the peloton, ease up a little bit, get the heart rate down, take some deep breath, and then recover for the leg snap for the fourth time today.
I think that had a lot to do with the fact that he saw the pack coming on. It wasn't going to go anywhere, and might as well not waste those extra matches at all, and just allow the pack to do its work and make this happen. But 5.0 watts per kilogram I'm seeing at the highest end. Morten Vang has actually averaged 5.1 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race so far. I mean, this has not been any kind of a joke so far. The 20-minute here so far has been around 5.7 for some. I mean, this has been a very, very difficult race. Now, there are still some that are saving up for the sprint. At the lower end, I would say Jep Tobel, 4.0 so far. I'm looking through some of the other riders here. Jep has actually done an amazing job drafting so far at the lowest watts per kilogram amongst the entirety of the race. Actually, no, excuse me. There's one rider that has averaged around 3.9, and that's going to be Jesper Nielsen coming from that DBR team, actually. So interesting to see the riders that maybe are saving up for the sprints in the final for those 35 points, and the ones that have actually been putting in a lot of work. As you can see, KALAS now 4 to the front. This is later in the race. I think this is well organized, and they're actually looking to make something happen here.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to point out quickly that Jeppe Tolbel is also probably one of the heaviest guys here in the front group. He's 91 kilograms, so a really, really heavy guy, and he's able to get over the leg snapper 3 times. It's pretty impressive. So kudos to Jeppe from Team Fusion ETC.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing job so far by that rider here. If he can make it to the finish line, I'd be watching out for him to sprint with big watts there. Morten Vang tells over Discord that he's just chilling, Vidar Mail is saying, actually. So good to hear that we're getting some in-team car information here. Maybe we have to bring them in live actually one of these times, but we're being told that over Discord. No big deal. We're just chilling at 5.1 watts per kilogram. It's not that big of a deal. KALAS now making the way to the front still. It looks like they're trying to control the race a little bit here at this point. Maybe set up for that little 1% uphill gradient as we are seeing Vang here, 3.6, 167 beats per minute currently.
This could be a tactic from Team KALAS with Vidar actually telling you that he's just chilling in the chat when he's actually sitting on his maximum heart rate, just to scare everybody else that's watching the stream, because a lot of these guys are watching the stream simultaneously while they're racing. So if they think he's just chilling, then it's like, oh, better watch out for him for the final.
Yeah, a little bit of chatter there, perhaps specifically for that. Now we are seeing David PLCC, very strong rider. I've always wanted to be watching out for 4.4 watts per kilogram coming from him. Covering a couple of the moves here. Sorely not to the front there. It's a rider I'd be calling a dark horse so far today with the efforts I've seen from him. Now back in with the women's race. They're about to hit their 3rd time up and over the top of this climb. And it does look like it's kind of come all back together here, actually, as I'm looking forward. And it's interesting to see. I was not expecting this to happen, actually. We mixed the catch, but it looks like Imo here, followed up by Kajan. I was expecting this to be a group of 6 when I came back to it, but it's actually looking to be a group of about 11 riders, I believe. Slavin from Fearless here now making their way to the front. Linda there from Team Vikings. And Vikings here have made their way back to this. They were actually with the 3rd chase group. And the Vikings have actually made their way back to the front with Linda here, actually, out of Norway. Amazing effort here coming from them. Look at all of the Norwegian flags at the front end. Again, I can't say it enough here. I think that we've got riders coming out of the woodwork here to try and put their Zwift racing debut into their Palmares.
That was pretty good teamwork from the ladies from Vikings, that they were actually able to merge group 2 and 3 together and just sit up and wait for each other and then work together and then close the gap before they hit the leg snapper again. So pretty impressive. And I also was thinking that Whitelaw and some of the Canyon girls in the front, they were just, it's pretty far to go to the finish. So maybe just sit up a little bit, wait for the final 2 laps and see what happens. Mix up the cards again.
We are heading over the cobbles. You can hear them rolling over the cobbles here at this point. And the Brewer left-hand turn, going to be a right-hand turn in just a moment here. Leah here is trying to set up at 4.8 watts per kilogram, 217 watts now. Going to be a right-hand turn over the river and then right on into the leg snapper for the 3rd time here. 22.7K in. They're going to have 20K to go in just a moment here. We got a 45-kilometer race here. And Brewer, Fearless, put the hurt on early here now. Mason, Polly making her way to the front here. Two fearless ladies at the front, making sure perhaps that they're set up well to follow any wheels. Kristen Falk, though, no, trying to take over here. Whitelaw now 8.7 here, but it's Falk, 6 watts per kilogram. Vicky follows very closely to the wheel. This was her. It was actually Vicky Whitelaw and Claudia Baring. I thought that we were going to try and make a move here, but Claudia just looking to
Yeah, that's
follow.
what
It
I
looks
thought.
like at this point. It's actually Kristen Falk, who I think may be the better climber amongst the two Canyon ZCC riders.
Yeah, I think so. But we've seen Baron come back a lot of times, so I think she's going to be able to come back on the next section. Oh, she's going to stick onto the back of this little exclusive group here. So they're going to be two Team Canyon, and it's going to be pretty much the same as we saw the last couple of laps. And the interesting thing is if they're going to if they're going to try to attack, or they're just going to sit up again and wait for the other group of ladies that's coming from behind.
Now over the top, Viersen though here, Alex. Interesting to see. We've said the cryogen riders we want to watch out for. Kajin falling off. They're letting that gap open up here. Claudia needs to shut this down. I think these other riders are actually struggling to hang on. Claudia maybe let a little bit too much go there at that point, but it looks like she is going to get back on terms. It's Falcon Claudia, as you can see, in the sprint overall still, so they've got the fastest times. Claudia comes right over the top, and now 1 second gap back to Mason. Brewer able to just jump on here. 22 seconds back to those who fell off, and they keep on. Every lap, there's this chase group that makes their way back. Eventually, it may be going to snap off and not find their way back with that elastic at any point. But this is the group now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders here. 2 Canyon ZCC, 2 Fearless riders. And then it's going to be Hino with Vicky Whitelaw. And then Cryogen. And one other rider here. It's going to be RR 2020. Now in there as well. So to the front there, Kristen Falk setting up. We're going to see what happens with the sprint section in just a moment. Looking through for the ladies here, though, and I want a little bit more information actually here on this unattached rider that we were saying in this front group, actually. Kajan, Tina Kajan, RR 2020. Interesting to see, and it looks like I believe a triathlete. Is that right? Team RR. Unfamiliar with the team. Maybe a newer team out here, riding out of. I believe it is going to be Finland. Yeah, riding out of Finland
Yes,
here,
correct.
and it's a full Finnish team actually with 4 riders. Newer team it looks like, recently created. So good to see new representation of some of these countries that jumping into these higher end races.
Yeah, it's really nice to see. Now, let's just take the sprint, and then I think a good tactic would actually be when we see Foyerson from Cryogen going for the sprint here. A good thing could actually be going counter-attacking on the sprint. Maybe Baron could just keep going after this, because I think a lot of these ladies are really hurting in their legs. So maybe going solo after the sprint instead of just sitting up would be a good tactic at this point.
Now, Baring does have the gap here. We saw her give it a go last time. Not sure it's going to stick, but she does take down the Swift Fusion, and then Falk coming in for third. Backing with the men, they have gone up and over the top of their climb just a moment ago, and it does look like the break is happening again. As we're looking at the back here, it's going to be Heidel from the Vikings trying to hold on. Sedar, who took down the sprint the last couple of times, at least was in the top 3 for the sprint, but there's a little bit of break on the front of this group here at this point. We'll see if Sedar here out of Slovenia can get back on terms and be a part of that sprint again, but it's going to be looking toward the front. SK Rai again with this Sorley, who we keep on seeing him really involved in the race. Morten Vang now to the front with KALAS now trying to take over. Fagley actually leading things out. We're about to head into the 4th time through, I believe, if I'm incorrect, with going to be 1 lap to go.
Correct.
1 lap to go in just a moment. And Fagley now 6.2 watts per kilogram. Now it's going to be Evenson. Skretterberg here looking to try and take down some points. Morten Vang, 11 watts per kilogram coming from the KALAS rider here. Skretterberg
Wow.
opens up at 14 watts per kilogram,
He's
though.
impressive.
And look at this. First time racing in one of our major broadcasts. Skretterberg makes it happen here. First year senior in real life. And what a kick there.
If I was a pro team, I would actually look out for this guy. Like you see him on Swift, you see him pushing some amazing numbers. You already said that he's been really good as a junior, so it's a good rider to look out for first year senior. So why not give him a shot on the road?
And I believe that is his goal specifically, actually. Long time ago, Matthias Skretterberg riding for, it looks like Skin Curator. Is that, if I'm not pronouncing it, probably totally smashing that name. But amateur road cyclist for Team Ringer. I can't. I'm nope. Not even.
Ringerike.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
No worries.
And you can actually check out all of his in real life results over at firstcycling.com. He was actually in my personal channel over on Mixer just the other day. Let me know that he's had some pretty amazing results already this year, actually. So,
Wouldn't that be
actually,
a cool story if he got signed after doing really good in the KALAS Cup? That would be what amazing Swift story if he could go from Swift directly to maybe a country team or something.
be absolutely amazing. And he's actually, I'm looking through his results here as well as his profile over on zippower.com. I'm loving how he's saying he's on the Tax Neo 2 for his trainer, actually. And using a Quark if he is dual recording. So if you got any questions about the rider's validity, he's definitely putting out the numbers on one of the best setups he could possibly do so. So good to see Scudder showing up on the day here and coming up. I know he's been training like a maniac too. We talked a little bit about his training during some of the live streams. He rides with me once in a while during my training, and the guy will do 5-hour rides with 3 different sets of intervals in them. It sounds like at different times.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's pure roadie GC type stuff that the guy's looking for. I believe he was looking to try and take down nationals as well, and had a bum race from was in the break early on, and then ended up getting caught though, and just had nothing left, and ended up off the back though. But we'll see. We're definitely excited to see how things go, not just in the esports world for him, but in the real life cycling. Now back to the racing with everybody else out here though, as Scudder takes over to the front. Berg in now, heading into the last lap. Are we going to see a flyer here though? Try and make something happen early on as we head into the last lap. This is going to be the opportunity because it's leg snapper with a go right now. There is the 100% uphill gradient over the bridge. You know, there is that section. And if you're going to try and give it a go, if everybody's a little bit tired and not very interested, that could be really the section to try and make something happen.
Yeah, I do believe everyone in this group here is really, really tired. I was looking in the chat in Swift that there was a lot of people that's saying that they were puking and their legs were just burning. So I think people are pretty tired. I see actually 2 from Team Fusion, Jeppe Tolbøl, and also my former teammate Christian Moberg is still there. That's pretty impressive of the Danes being in here with all these Norwegians. So if you want to mix it up, and like a guy like Jeppe, he probably has to go before the leg snapper because he's gonna be in the back coming over the leg snapper, I could imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be all about, I think, this next time over the leg snapper here. We are seeing people saying Rule 5, and that is actually, I mean, the reality is it's time to harden up. That is for sure, because this 5th time over the top here is going to be so incredibly difficult. This is when, whether or not you have put your base in, put the work in, and have those extra watts left to give here in just a moment here. Plenty of riders still left. The Vikings, let's go ahead and I'm going to take a quick look through the team standings so far for the race here. What kind of who's been able to make this front group, I think is a big question, and what kind of numbers do they have that maybe send a few riders off the front in this situation here. So amongst the riders,
I see
still
3 Vikings and 3 KALAS at least in the front group.
Yeah, interesting to see the Vikings still toward the front here, from what I can see. So Vikings now. Christian Storley is still in there. So I did not know that Christian was actually riding for the Vikings. Interesting to see that they're still hanging tough in here. For the ladies, I do see you in chat asking about the ladies. They're not making their way over toward their climb just yet. We will follow up with them as much as with both of the races here. As things do come through for the men's race for their final lap. We don't want to miss any of the attacks in their final lap. The ladies will be starting their final lap after this one, so we'll make sure we're covering both of them as best as we possibly can as we try and catch all of the action here. Mason, though, interesting to see. This is a move. Polly Mason giving a go here, and Polly, we did see her, I believe, in the she's been showing up for quite a few of the community races recently. I believe she was also, I'm not positive, but I believe I remember seeing her name in the Pro-Am race as well. So watch out for Polly here. Newer rider I've seen out on Team Fearless here. Falk there following things up, and this is a real attack, I think, to try and break things up at this point. Vicky Whitelaw shutting it right on down. Seeing if anybody's suffering too much. We'll see if Team Fearless is making the right moves as Brewer sits in. That looks like a tactical move there from Team Fearless.
Yeah, I noticed the second group was only 12 seconds behind 500 meters ago, and now it's up to 20 seconds. So I think they just gave it a little extra push just to make sure they didn't get caught again before they go out into the final lap.
That's a great point, actually. I think that was kind of like, all right, ladies, we're sitting around looking at each other a little bit, starting to hold hands. Time to not hold hands any longer. But, there is a reality. If any of these riders have the endurance or have been sitting in and trusting that this is going to come back, or, I mean, there's a couple of Vikings in here, like we had said. There might be a reality that one of these riders comes back, hangs on, and ends up winning a sprint situation. So they don't want this group to come back.
That's how I won all my races, Nathan. I was just sitting in hoping it's going to come back to a sprint and win it. So that's the way. If you're a sprinter, that's the only way you do it. You don't go in front. You don't chase them. You just sit in, hope it's going to come back to a sprint, and then and it could come back because they're really sitting up right now. They're only doing 150 watts.
Yeah, interesting to see. 18 seconds. Pole here toward the front, though. These riders may be giving up the ghost, though, here a little bit. Not too interested in making the chase. Only 3.2 on the front. They might not have a whole lot left to make this chase or don't believe any longer. There is that reality. You got to have the faith that it's there to still make it happen. It looks like Fearless taking over the front, not interested in allowing that to come back. The men and the women on a similar section of the course, though. Looking through here for the men's race, we're looking at the camera from the top here. As you do see Berg, KALAS. Interesting to see how low. Look at how low the watts are here at this point. 0 watts. 119. Everybody just saving up for this next time over the top here. And it's going to be all about nobody's giving a go here over that bridge at that 1% uphill gradient. You can see in the upper right-hand corner on the mini map as we do change the view there. They're going to go through these little bit of winders through the downtown area, and then it will be the leg snapper for the final time. Up and over the top, the sprint through the sprint section for the points there as well. But everybody's just waiting for this next section. It looks like little 1% downhill gradient taking over toward the front here. It looks like Fitzpatrick, Sorensen here. It's actually going to be Paulini here from 2R, as well as Sorley, the new rider from, I believe, is for the Vikings team. No V in the name. But looking through at the rider, no, he doesn't have the kit on either. So it must be a new addition to the Vikings. Christian Sorley is definitely signed up for Vikings, though, from what I can see over on the website, over on zippower.com.
Also, look out for Morten Wang and Oftedal from Team KALAS. I think they're really gonna mix it up this time over the leg snapper. Everybody's just trying to get the heart rate down before they hit the cobbles, and then they go over the bridge, and then they hit the leg snapper for the final time. And I definitely think we're gonna see some fireworks going over the leg snapper.
I think you're right. I think this is going to be the all-in when it comes to if you're going to try and get away. There'll be some riders that'll be waiting for the sprint still. I'll be watching out. I'm looking through some of the names here. I believe I saw Tobel still in there, and as you said, one of the heavier riders maybe going to be just trying to follow the wheels. But we're most likely going to see the kind of attack that is going to try and completely blow things up. I'm fully expecting that this is going to string out, and we'll see some serious suffering in just a moment. I'm guessing we're going to see 10 plus watts per kilogram. James Phillips is still in there. Also a sprinter that's not going to try and get away. He's going to be following wheels most likely here. Now, Sorley now making it to the front. Cartilage now there as well. Innovation. Carstensen, Vikings looking to take over, but Morten Vang goes very early. Look at this. 10 watts per kilogram at the bottom. This is looking to be a full minute attack here. Cartilage looking to follow it up here. It looks like SZ with Labamba. Herman now going. Skrennerberg there following things up, sitting fourth wheel here. Look if we can see what the chase is going to be like here on the right-hand side. Look at the pack still all together. Very well bunched up. Vang has gone very early, and this is a little bit risky because that pack is coming on like crazy. They're closing it easily. He's fading here, Galax. I don't know if this was the best move.
That was really not maybe the best move. Like the Vidar said in the chat that he was just really, really easy, but it looked like he went a little bit too early. I thought he was going to break away, but now he's basically fading and going back through the pack. I think he's going to come in with the bunch, but I was expecting it to open up a bigger gap than what we saw here. Oftedal is going at the front now.
Now the teammate Oftedal might just been a setup though for Oftedal. We'll have to wait and see here. And we've got just a few kilometers left to go. We do have some questions in chat. Thank you so much for the questions. We've got, I believe, about a 2K to go or so. Excuse me, not 2K, 3K to go to the finish line. It's a 45-kilometer race out here today. So 41.7 as you can see at the top here. We've got one more sprint for some points, but there's only 3 points on the line for first across the sprint line. I'm not sure anybody's going to care about those. It could set up for a breakaway, but there's reality that there's 35 over the line, and we've got much more than 35 riders here, it looks like, still in this pack. A lot of riders have made this here. Wow. Any predictions coming into this final 3K?
Yeah, I'm actually rooting for Skretterberg, even though I have two Danish teammates in there, like Jeppe Tolbel and Christian Moberg still in there. But I'm kind of rooting for Skretterberg because he's a young, up and coming guy. I want to see him do good here in this series. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, let us hear from you in chat. We're looking for all of your predictions coming on through here, as I am seeing a whole lot of people chatting about big numbers and how painful it looked. We're watching the Twitch chat, we're watching Facebook as well as the YouTube chat. We see a lot of new viewers actually hanging out here today. Thank you so much everybody for tuning in. We're about to come into the final 2.5K here. One sprint for 3-2-1 for points, but there's 35 points across the line for first place. This is round number 1 in the KALAS Cup. 10 races in total that we're going to see on some of the coolest courses out on Zwift. Opening things up, though, it looks like KALAS actually looking for a go. Morten Vang opens up again. 9 watts per kilogram coming from Vang. Sidar, though, from KRT team, it looks like it's going to be Sidar leading things out. There's a lot of riders, though, just sitting in. Do they have the teammates, though, to close things out with Sidar? Followed up by Schwartz there from the dropouts team. Vang now sitting in 0.2 watts per kilogram, so bringing it way back. 189 beats per minute. Will they continue on? Schwartz here, let's continue on. 4.2 coming from him. There's so many teams behind. I don't think this is going to make any sense to try and stay away at this point.
No, this is actually going to turn into a big bunch bit, much bigger than I thought. I thought 5 laps over the leg snapper was going to be like a really exclusive group of 10, 15 guys, but we see a huge group coming into the sprint. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the different teams are going to set up the lead out.
Now we are seeing Berg here opening things up a little bit, 7.6 watts per kilometer. It is really about a lead out at this point. I mean, there's such a huge group at this point. Keeping the speed as high as you possibly can and making sure that your riders can sit in at 4 to 5 watts per kilogram. Now it's going to be Carstensen now keeping things fast. This is amazing. I love how they are leading this out, but it's going to be the rider Olsen here now. I'm seeing all kinds of predictions coming in here. Carlson, we're hearing Morse, Paulini, Nordstrom. I see you over in chat. Those are the predictions that we're seeing here, but Olsen goes from 9 watts per kilogram from way out. Ray here from Ascent here trying to come over the top there out of Canada, but the group is still within contact here. The lead-outs are happening from the teams here. As you can see, it's going to be Olsen still off the front. Dowd there from the dropouts here, making sure it doesn't stay away for too long. Paulini opens up a 16 watts per kilogram, though, and it's going to be Herman Phillips. So much patience. Look at how much patience there is here, but it's James Phillips there from Canyon ZCC. We've seen him win with this exact move on this exact course. He starts to open it up, and Canyon ZCC trying to stay away, 10 watts per kilogram, but he's going from like 500 meters. This is so far out. Riders over and over again trying to hold on. Herman now, 8.1 watts per kilogram. Oftedal, who has waited for the perfect timing? Jeldon's now trying to make something happen. It looks like he's within the final 150, it looks like. Oftedal now, Riker. Do you think he's got it? I don't know. Maybe 12 watts per kilogram, though. It's going to be Phillips, it looks like, all the way to the line. And it will be Phillips, it looks like. Reichert doving right behind there. That looks to be the finish there between the riders. James Phillips, what an amazing
How long
result
was that
for James
sprint,
Phillips.
Nathan?
That sprint was like, well, let's take a look at it. It was over 20 seconds. I mean, we can look at the replay. We'll jump back in with the ladies in just a second here, but watch this replay. I believe we've got it here from Phillips as he came across the line. Look at this. I mean, this is like how far into his sprint he is at this point. 12. He grabbed that 3 seconds. Riker tried to come over the top, but it was from way out. I think he went from 500 meters. Phillips grabs it.
The sprint started basically when they crossed the river. They started going there, and then they just keep going over each other, building the momentum. So it was just really, really difficult sprint if you want to do a short burst.
Yeah, and that was the situation there, as it was Phillips that went from way out. Skretterberg, I was rooting for him too. It looks like maybe just too high of intensity. What was really interesting to me was how many people went from way out. And I'm wondering if that was really a tactical moves there from the riders trying to make it so that the speeds were high the entire time, trying to make it so that the riders had to make chases there and kind of tactically burn some of the matches of the other riders. It ended up not working out, though. It looked like for a few of the teams that made those early moves.
It was a bit too long, going from basically 1.1, 1.2 kilometers out. But we have been talking about how Swift sprinting is different from road sprinting. You can't sprint that late. But this is taking it to a whole new level, going from a kilometer. I thought, like, instead of going from 200, you would go from 400, but going from a kilometer out, basically everybody started the sprint, and it was just about getting in somebody's wheel and just waiting for the perfect moment to go over the top.
Yeah, exactly. Finding the right wheel, right time, but nobody could have predicted Phillips going from that far out. I mean, that was pretty. And you know what? Phillips had sat in, and sat in. I think specifically for that kind of timing, and
Yeah,
knowing his talent, I think as well is part of the reason why he went. I think he knew he couldn't match the the kick of a 13, 14 very fast uh, jump, but he knew that he could maybe hold on to that long, drawn out Cipollini type sprint.
and I also don't think he did any intermediate sprints. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he did any. So he's actually just saving his legs for the final sprint, like being a really good tactical sprinter, just sitting in, getting over the leg snapper each and every time, sitting in, taking some deep breath, recovering, and then waiting for the sprint.
I think you're right about that. I'm looking for the sprints and KOMs situation here for the results, and we'll have to wait and see if we can get some. I'm not sure exactly how they're working for sprints and KOMs and the preems, etc. But we'll see if I am seeing. Oh, this is really great. Nice job to James Phillips. Big shot, not James Phillips, to Hodges. The cake is a lie. The man himself from Zip Power is in chat, and I saw him saying that the points were updated. And Innsbruck forward sprint number one, won by Martin Olsen. Tadej Sidar followed up by Havard Jeldins. And it's gonna be Tadej Sidar, and I mean you guys can just head over there right now. Well, I'm not gonna chat tell you guys all of them here, but you can head over to zippower.com. If you go to the preems on the live page, you can actually see who took each one of them. And big
That's
shout
really
out to
cool,
zippower.com
actually.
if those are up. And by next week, you guys, we're going to try and have a full graphic setup for all of these results. Hopefully that we'll have all those here on zippower.com so that we can bring these in live for each one of them. So you'll be able to see them live updated throughout. So this is the front of the women's race, though. It's only 20 seconds back here to this chase group. They have not given up. 3.1 on the front. This is quite the chase from this group here, and they are really persistent here in this race.
Yeah, it's very rare that you see the groups coming back, even in the shorter races. So it's pretty amazing to see after 4 laps, 4 times over the leg snapper, you still have a group here that just don't want to give up, still chasing to get back. Even if it's futile, they're just trying and give it everything they got before the leg snapper.
Now, I am seeing Leah Brewer has gone back to this group here. Interesting to see. She was amongst the front runners here. It looks like in support of Polly Mason from Team Fearless. So it is going to be Canyon ZCC again, who have the numbers. Fearless did have two in this front group, but it looks like unable to hang on. Leah Brewer moves her way backwards to that chase group. 13 seconds. There's an opportunity here. 2% a little uphill gradient. In just a moment, they're going to be heading back into that leg snapper as they head into the downtown here in just a moment. Kajan toward the front there, it looks like now. 3.3 watts per kilometer. Mason now settling in 2.8 at the front. Let's go ahead and hear what is the predictions for the ladies' race here. Kristen Falk, she's hit another level in my opinion this year. In years past, I would not have maybe made. She's definitely top level, but maybe not one of the favorites. But recently, I've seen a lot. Obviously, Vicky Whitelaw. But
Yeah.
Vicky Whitelaw is obviously gonna be one of the strongest. But if Cannon's ECC can play some games here and try and burn some matches and time it correctly, they might be able to make something happen. I believe Claudia and Kristen are really wanting to try and get a result on the board here for Canyon's ECC and try and unthrone the high note trio. And without the other teammates out there today, perhaps make something happen. I'm rooting for. I'm a little bit rooting here, Canyon's ECC to make something happen because the domination. Not to take anything away, obviously, from Whitelaw and the high note team here, but let's see if Falk can maybe make an attack here and make the chase have to happen.
I actually think you're right. I think they're gonna do something, attack and counter attack each other. But yeah, my pick is still gonna be Whitelaw. Still gonna root for the Danish team, Team Heino, and hope she wins. But they actually have to be pretty careful because there's only 7 seconds back to the second group. So if they come up, it's gonna be a whole different dynamics, and the tactics are gonna change immensely.
We are seeing a little bit of chatter coming through here. Actually, Kajan, I'm hearing from Rhubarb there for the surprise win. A rider that I'm not super familiar with. So we'll see if that ends up playing out. Let us know who you think is going to take the W out here today and amongst the ladies. We'll go ahead and try and bring in all of the hype from all of the chatters coming on through. I did not see, I'm not sure we had anybody come through with a James Phillips for the win actually over on the chat. I'm looking through some of the. We're also seeing actually we're seeing a couple others. So Finland's pretty popular out here today, as we've got over at Twitch chat as well. So plenty of chatter coming on through. I'm also hearing from Mr. Steely Dan saying he thinks Claudia Berry might give it a go. Hero from the sprint banner. So interesting to see some other predictions coming on through. Plenty of new chatters coming on in here, cheering on their favorites here. But the ladies here now making their way over toward the next one. A little bit of a go here, actually, coming from. Actually, no, is that a lapped rider?
That's a lapped rider, Nathan.
It is a lapped rider. Okay, so Barry now taking over toward the front. It looks like keeping the things under control. Behind here, it does look like the gap has gone back out by 1 or 2 seconds. Pole now, KRT team giving a little dig. 6 seconds is all it is. They might bring this back. It's within 8, but the leg snapper's gonna be right in their face the moment that they are
exactly.
there.
Exactly. It's gonna be the same situation we've seen a bunch of times before. They could catch him just when they hit the leg snapper, and then we're probably gonna see bearing off Christian Falk really hit the front, and it's gonna split up again. So we could see a situation where it's gonna be the same 6 girls for the final sprint.
We are hearing from Besset from Team Revo saying that Fearzan is very strong, new rider, but making some waves in the community races. Has a strong sprint. And I was actually thinking exactly that Team Cryogen rider has been on my radar specifically into this race throughout. So I definitely be watching out for Fearzan. 2.4 watts per kilogram currently coming from her, but she was leading out over the top of the leg snapper almost every time so far. So definitely one to be watching out for. We are seeing the Canada ZCC riders getting near each other there. Maybe waiting for maybe an attack, but most likely just waiting for that leg snapper because the group isn't so much. I mean, they're obviously worrying about the riders that are around them, but that's just the fact of that climb in and of itself and what you have to do to get over it at this point after so much racing. They're an hour of racing in, and it's kind of been just all in. It's essentially like doing 5 or 6 VO2 max efforts, each time around on these laps.
Exactly, it's so difficult going over the leg snapper, and it's just extra spice it up. They have that sprint coming up, so there's almost no recovery on this section. That's why they're sitting up, and that's probably why they're going to get caught just before the leg snapper because they just need to recover before each section they hit the leg snapper, and then it just keeps going each and every time over.
Brewer here, 3.6 toward the front. Now, as you can see, Fearless trying to make this happen. It's going to be, like we said, right at the bottom of the leg snapper if it does happen. Now, if there is a rider that has been sitting in and resting up at all, they may go across here. You know, if there's a rider that was just trusting and waiting for this moment, they could go across and there could be a huge upset amongst there. And they could be really shooting themselves in the foot, a few of these riders, if that does happen. But we are seeing, some of these names I'm not super familiar with. The KALAS Cup, they have brought out some names here that suddenly, like we saw with Skretterberg, we might see something similar here in the women's race. Years in, though. Cryogen, we were told this is a rider to watch out for. 6.1 watts per kilogram, has a killer sprint. Now Kajan there, coming out of Finland. We saw a lot of chatter about this rider now, though. And coming across, it looks like perhaps Brewer, 5.9, 5.6. If they sit up too much, we could see 2 riders from Fearless in this front group. Mason, though, Polly now to the front, 6.6 from her. 179 beats per minute, though, 415 watts, 7.0 watts per kilogram. Christian Falk following closely. Whitelaw, though, this is an attack from Whitelaw.
Whoa.
Whitelaw looking to go. This isn't even halfway over the top. Vicky can walk away. This is a serious move, and she can TT like no other on Zwift.
That's impressive. Like I knew she was going to do something. I didn't know she was going to do it already here. If she comes over the top, like who's going to... The girls from Canyon has to work together to bring her back. Maybe she's going to get Mason to follow her. So it's going to be interesting. But this is all-out attack, all-or-nothing attack at this point.
It is a risky move, though. 5.6 watts per kilogram. She's got to have a lot of confidence because there's plenty of riders behind that can make something happen. But there's not a lot of them, though. And they're not, I mean, the reality is they might just be completely cooked and not able to work together at this point. Falk here off the back. I thought maybe there was something extra in the legs today. Kajan as well, not going to be able to go. Fearzan, though, trying to get back on terms. There could be 3 riders here. It's going to be Polly Mason, Claudia Baring, and Fearzan from Cryogen here looking to make something happen. 3 riders on the chase up against one of the strongest riders we've ever seen out on Zwift. Vicky Whitelaw looking to walk away. She's got 5.1 watts per kilogram in the leg still. Fearzan's got to come through with a lot more than 3.0. Now, this is all in. She is not waiting up. This is not about a sprint effort. This is about TTing away and having the room to put her hands in the air as she comes across the line here. Mason now 0 watts per kilogram, as you can see, getting into a super tuck situation, trying to pull the rest of this group along. Alex, it looks like Vicky Whitelaw's doing her thing and may just walk away with this one.
Yeah, I think so. Nobody's worried about the sprint this time. This is all about just getting to the finish line. And the three girls behind, they're going to have to work together. I don't think they have time to wait for Falk. So they had 2 Team Canyon girls. I don't think that's feasible at all. I think the 3 girls really just got to put their nose in the wind and work together as best as possible.
Look at Kristen Falk, 5.9 watts per kilogram. She's going to come right up to this. This might happen. Look at Kristen Falk. If she comes into this still, now we've got 2 Canyons ECC. She could completely sacrifice herself for Bering here, and we might get a catch. Vicky's only got 7 seconds, and Vicky Whitelaw, I mean, if she's gone all in and she's got no energy left, someone may have a sprint. This could be a huge upset. Look at Bering go. Bering's going at 8 now. This is going to get shut down. It looks like Mason Polly here as well. Vicky Whitelaw, maybe too much confidence here. Claudia Bering going all in on the sprint, looking to take 2 more points, it looks like. It looks like Vicky Whitelaw's gonna grab though. Will she come across though? Mason now looking to grab on the wheel. Fearsden's there. It's still chase of 4. I think that they're all thinking we can take down the giant here. Will they do it? That one of the titans of Zwift Racing is out here trying to walk away, but they're not letting it happen.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know if Bering should keep going here solo. She should sit up and wait for her teammate. They're up there now. So now they're 4 girls together. Now they have to work together. It's only 1.3 kilometers when they cross the river here, when they go over the bridge. And like they have no time to sit up. Everybody put in full effort if they want to catch Whitelaw at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if that sprint battle there was really worth it here at this point. I mean, it's worth it for the points, though. Really, right? I mean, it's worth it for the points. It looks like Polly's like, forget it. You guys aren't working together. We got to go. Go right now. If you're not going, then I'll just take second from everybody else. Maybe I'll go get first. Polly Mason, 5.1 watts per kilogram. Definitely a newer rider to the world of Zwift Racing here, is showing that she's got the cards to play here now. 9 seconds is all it is, but Vicky Whitelaw almost into 6 watts per kilogram. Look at this lady ride. This is insane, and that's why she has that national champion kit on her back here. Matt Mason looking to shut it down, but it's over. I thought maybe they'd be able to make something happen. There was a little bit too much infighting for the sprint. I think Vicky Whitelaw's got this one in the bag.
I totally agree. That sprint effort wasn't worth it. Bering should just have sat up, wait for Falk, and they could have worked together. That would have been the only chance. It may not have been enough, but that would have been the only chance. The 2 points really wasn't worth it at that point.
And now it's 11 seconds here, and Mason continues to try and hold off a hard charging pack behind here. It looks like Vicky Whitelaw, though, she's within the last 500 meters here. This is about where Phillips had went in the men's race, and I think with 11 seconds, it's pretty much impossible without a 15 watt per kilogram sprint. And that's not coming from this group that's been working so incredibly hard against each other. Polly Mason, though, interesting to see, holding off. This is a huge result for Team Fearless, getting them on the board here in one of the biggest esports community races here out on Zwift. Mason grabs that 5 seconds and looks like she's going to walk away with second. But this is Vicky Whitelaw, Team Hino, national champion, coming across the line, showing why she's one of the best talents among women racing here on Zwift. 180 beats per minute right now. Huge effort from her. Enough time, easily able to throw her hands in the air, and obviously huge result for her here in the KALAS Cup, round number 1.
Yeah, that was a beautiful win, and she did it without any of her strong teammates, Louisa Haubach, Cecilia Hansen. So very impressive win by Whitelaw.
Looks like we got Mason here coming around for second place, and then it's going to be a battle here right to the line. Fearsen just ahead of Falk, and then Claudia Bering. Claudia grabbed a lot of those sprints, though, early on. So that's going to change things up for the results. And we'll definitely in the future races be looking to have a little bit more live updates for you on all of the points and how they do work out. Looks like Pole is going to come across the line just barely nipping out. It looks like Holmsen, followed up by Brewer, and then Kajan Farstead coming through in the last amongst that group. A huge result for the ladies. This has been some great racing out here today amongst the men and the women, especially the women's racing though. Here, such close groups at the finish there. Whitelaw, not a huge, the favorite to win ends up pulling things up, but we're seeing a couple of riders starting to challenge out there. Polly Mason, obviously Canyons ECC showing up on the day. So amazing results all around between the riders here, Alex.
It was such an exciting race. It's such a long race that I thought it was going to be a bit boring, but it was basically full gas from the get-go. And with the intermediate sprints, it really mixed up and made changed the dynamic of the race to make it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, hugely interesting. Now, everybody, I am going to a little bit untraditional for the way that we're going to look at the results here. Again, I did say we are looking to have graphic updates by next week specifically, so that we can bring all this in right into some of the broadcasts. But we're just going to bring up ZwipPower.com, and you know what? That's great though as well, because the reality is that ZwipPower.com has put in tons of work. And there is a reality that Zwift Racing would not be what it is today without them. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the ZwiftPower.com real quickly. I'm just going to go ahead and bring up my desktop here, and you guys can check out exactly how things played out. And if you're unfamiliar with ZwiftPower.com, live results, you go into the live results, it shows the current time to the finish line, which is absolutely awesome. As you can see, James Phillip, though, coming through in first place, followed up by Johnny Doving for Team Experimental. Big result for Experimental. Breg Bergen for the Vikings. Havard Jeldins there coming through for fourth. And then Ingo Reichert for Kirchmer second. Mike Morse, Christian Altidal, followed up by Martin Olsen. Then Marco Schult coming through. And then Tom Fitzpatrick coming in for 10th place. A little bit of shout out to Matthias Skutterberg there, as he had some amazing results out there in his first time through, as he was one of the riders we were definitely focusing on. Now, the new thing that we were chatting about here, this is the new Preems situation. So you can go ahead and hunt over and hit Preems, and you'll be able to see all of the Preems and how they ended up playing out. Those are going to be worth points as well. As you can see, all of the rules as well, and the little drop down for the description and how that all ends up playing out. You can also head on over to Leagues, hit Leagues, and see how things are playing out for the KALAS Cup as they play out throughout the series. Obviously, plenty of other things going on as well out there for each one of the rounds. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results for the ladies' side of things, though, too, as they played out. And we're going to go ahead and hit E, and that is for the ladies. Vicky Whitelaw coming across the line there, first place. Solid gap of 14 seconds still. Claudia Berry there, followed up by Louis Fierzine. And then it's going to be Kristen Falk, Polly Mason, and then Kirsten Pope. Now, interesting, did Claudia actually take down that sprint right behind there? I thought that was Polly. I'm going to take a double look here. And maybe the results need a little bit of updating there, because Polly Mason, we definitely saw her come through. And do I have this in the wrong order, perhaps? I'll go ahead and update this here really quick. That is definitely not correct on the results. I'm going to go ahead and update here really quickly. You can see the results here showing the correct times, but not giving them the correct placings for some odd reason.
I have her in the live results with the correct standings.
All right, we'll go ahead and head on over to the right live results. Sorry about that, everybody. Appreciate you guys giving me the live results. There we go. Vicky Whitelaw here, followed up by Polly Mason. Then it was Louis Fierzine. That is the correct order there. Kristen Falk, Claudia Baring. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, top 5. Kirsten Pohl, followed up by Holmsen, CG Holmsen, then Louise Brewer, Tina Kajan, B. Farstead, Linda Isaacson, and then Anne Lusard, C. Scott, and then Andrea Kuchuran. That is the current standings here for everybody that has finished on the day. All right, that's going to be it from us here at Zwift Community Live for the first round in the KALAS Cup. Make sure to head over to ZwipPower.com for all of the results afterwards. Also, if you did not know, the results for the Norwegian results, Norwegian-only results, those are going to be listed over on landeve.no. So for the Norwegian route, the international results were presented on KALAS's Facebook page. Amazing racing. This is going to be an exciting series, Alex. I'm really pumped.
Yes.
I think that the community is as well.
Yeah, that was really exciting. First of all, we saw a lot big participation already in the first series, and I think it's just going to grow. It's going to be a 10-race series, and we also have the additional with the intermediate sprints, and plus we have the National Norwegian League. So it's going to be extremely interesting to follow this race series.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it, everybody. If you haven't signed up already, make sure to jump in. You can race it right alongside all of the elites in the B, the C, and the D categories as well, or throw your hat in with the A's and the E's there for the men and the women's side of things. We'll be here every week with that. Now, that's going to be it for this race, but later today, we also do have the KOA Sports Warrior Race. Make sure to tune in for that later today. If you haven't hit those follow buttons on all those places, live on Facebook, Twitch, Mixer, as well as YouTube, turn on your notifications to know anytime that we are going live. We will see you in just a few hours for the KOA Sports, and we will be live tomorrow with Zwift on Zwift Live with their production of the Pro-Am racing for Tour de Zwift for the men's next race. So make sure to tune in for that tomorrow. Going to be some fast and furious racing. As always, everybody, great job to all the riders out there. It's been amazing racing out there. Thanks to all the viewers for hanging out and all your chatter and chat. And we'll see you in just a few hours for Course Warrior Race. As always, right on.